Hold it, partner. It's all in the cards.
Hey everyone, this is ScrapComputer here. This guy's going to cover and explain the mid laner Twisted Fate, also known by the acronym TF, which I will be referring to. First up, the basic pretexts. Auto attack range 525. Main damage orientation is AP. Resource, mana. Main role is mid lane, but he can be played in a multitude of lanes, jungle, even support to an extent. This guide will be mainly orientated towards the mid lane TF, but you can use the uses and tips for all of them. Overall skill cap, medium. Runes. The rune setup for TF is seen as below. The setup has a few points I want to explain. The first is the marks of hybrid penetration. The reason we get these hybrid damage marks is that TF provides a mixture of physical and magical damage start game. His E attack speed with stacked deck and of course his magical abilities means he'd be doing a nice little set of both. Start game you will be auto attacking quite a bit because of this attack speed, so generally it's nice to have a mixture of both. A note to this is do get 9 marks of magic penetration if you're versus a lane you're scared of and won't have an opportunity to auto attack. The one movement speed Quint is just because TF is immobile and heavily relies upon running around to kite, roam, rotate around. Generally he does need to run very fast. This is why Lynchbane is also another core item, but I'll get into that later. From here you can finally swap out your AP glyphs for flat magic resist glyphs if you're versus an AP bully lane. Masteries. Your masteries can come in two separate forms. The first, as seen below, is 2190. This is for the lanes you're a little bit scared of due to their all-in or bully potential. It gives us some defensive properties to mean we won't get popped very easily. Basically pick this one versus all-in, bursty or bully lanes. The second order, 2109, can be seen below. This order is for every other type of lane. It provides us with some mana, movement speed to help us with roaming, and on top of that some cooldowns for our summoner spells, as Slash is our only mobility and we rely upon it very heavily. Lastly, this point in recall means we can recall a little bit faster to get back after tele-ganking with our ultimate. Summoner spells. You're going to want to pick up Flash for its mobility 100%, there's no doubt you have to have Flash. This goes for basically every mid laner in the game. From here you have a choice. Either pick up Heal and Barrier for its middle ground defensive and combat setups if you're slightly scared of your enemy's burst, or if you want a middle ground during fights as you can still use it to all in. It gives you a lot of versatility. You can either all in or you can play defensive with it. If you're versus a sustain based laner like Swain, you're going to want to pick up Ignite. Other than that, I disadvise Ignite as TF is immobile and generally needs 2 defensive spells. From here, you have another choice. Either instead of getting these ones, you can pick up Teleport with TF, so you can telegank in between your ultimate uses and allow the ultimate global roam. Overall, I heavily advise Flash and a middle ground defensive spell as seen at the bottom of the diagram, or a very defensive spell like Teleport to get back to lane after you've used your global pressure. Lanes to pick Twisted Fate versus. These are lanes that TF will generally have a decent to strong advantage versus. You should always try and pick TF versus the following. And notice that it's not a free win, you can still lose. Rise. He's pretty big start game and he can't too heavily punish a TF in any real way. Additionally, TF can easily gold card and Q combo Rise and bully him in the laning phase, and there's pretty much nothing Rise can do about this. Once you get level 6, Rise can't outpush you, which gives you plenty of time to push the wave and roam. In addition, he can't follow a roam because he's a slow champion himself. One of the few lanes you actually just crap on completely. Lissandra. Late game this is a pretty bad matchup, but for the laning phase if you're vigilant she just can't burst you down. You'll both just be mainly pushing minion waves with the free lane and getting your level 6s. From here push and just roam, that's how TF is played. Just avoid the early harassment and she can't kill you, which means it's a good lane for TF, who normally dies to a lot of people. Mordekaiser. Your abilities have greater range than this guy. All you have to do is survive the laning phase, which should be relatively simple versus a Mord as he has no lockdown and low range abilities. Your gold Q and combo with its greater range will make it hard for Mord to do anything versus you. In addition, you can outroam this guy very easily. Katarina. Kat is exceptionally weak start game and a melee champion. You can harass her and even kill her during the laning phase. Just punish her with golds and zone her out. You have better wave clear, which means you can easily outroam her as well with your ultimate. Lastly, you have an on click stun, which means she'll have a lot of trouble with her ultimate all game. Karthus. He's immobile and even if you're slightly careful versus his Qs, you should be 100% fine to get your level 6 for basically free. Twisted Fate's W and Q combo is uncounterable versus a Karthus. He can't do anything to answer this combo, and even mid game you can burst this guy with relative ease. Ari. The Fox heavily relies upon her mobility. Your gold is an instant setup for your entire kit, and it shuts down her mobility. She cannot avoid the gold card, which will destroy her a lot of the game. It takes away her mobility outplay potential. Your on-click abilities just counter Ari quite heavily. Once she gets away with her mobility, you can also catch her with your ultimate, which is another cool point. Morgana. If you can avoid that Q, she basically can't do anything to you during the laning phase. This means you can easily get your level 6 for free. Your abilities go for minions and her Q can't, so you have an easy setup versus her. Just push the waves and out-roam her and you should be fine. Anivia. Although TF is more easier orientated lane to be versus Anivia, as mentioned in my Anivia guide, TF does quite well versus her as she is a free lane. Anivia is a counter to TF, as Anivia's got such a weak laning phase that she can't do anything, but TF is also a counter to Anivia because he's in the same position. They both are counters to each other. They're both weak start game, and they can't really kill each other. They don't have enough to kill each other with. They can't punish each other, and for such weak start game laners, that's a counter in itself. So I do want to mention that. If you watch my Anivia guide, you're going to be like, but wait, TF was mentioned as a counter. They're both counters. Overall, any lane that can give you an easy time pre-level 6 is heavily appreciated for MTF, as he is quite weak start game. Pre-level 6 he's far weaker than most other mid laners, so generally if you can just survive the lane and do decently well, you're doing fine. Lanes to avoid. These lanes will not counter you completely. You can still theoretically win. They will just have a heavier advantage upon you, and you should generally avoid them. Fizz. His all-in potential and mobility can leave you with a lot of trouble. Playful Trickster can outplay your gold card each and every time, and he can just all-in you from here. Avoid this lane. His all-in potential, his assassin potential, everything about this guy just screams avoid. Diana. Pre-level 6 it isn't too much of an issue, but at level 6 she will start crying, probably in real life. Her Q and R combo will destroy you. Diana has just to simply dive you and kill you. There's nothing you can do. You can't counter her burst and you're squishy, so you're gonna die. With a lack of mobility and Twisted Fate, you will be in trouble. Kassadin. Same as Diana, pre-level 6 you crap on him, at level 6 he will dive you and crap on you. There is little you can do versus this except roam. Even with his mobility, which means he can follow you, this is even going to be difficult. LeBlanc, she is basically a lane bully. TF is weak start game. You can see where this is going. She can kill you and outplay your entire kit throughout the laning phase. There is no answer for a very squishy TF beyond getting a million health potions and a million jungle ganks. From here at level 6, just roam with your ultimate and don't stay in lane. I'll get more into this at the bottom of this section. Akali, pre-level 6 she can beat her of course, but level 6 onwards she will absolutely destroy your soul. When in your face there's nothing you can do. She is too mobile. She's her cooldowns are very low, so she can just keep on jumping in your face in between gold cards and there's just nothing you can do about it. Zed, he's mobile. At level 6 he can burst you down and outplay all of your kit including your gold card. Basically he can kill you at most points during the game and there's nothing you can do about it. Yasuo, he is very mobile and can engage upon you early. Most importantly, his wind wall can block your gold, hence your Q, because your gold and Q are generally a combo. If you can't combo, you can't stop him from all-inning you. This leaves with many problems. Syndra, she is normally played within a bully capacity. Her early game strength is just too much for most Twisted Fate players to handle. Her pick potential is larger than your gold card pick, which can also lead to problems. Her burst is better than yours, and just generally avoid this lane. Heimerdinger. This is actually an annoying conceptual counter. You can't kill Heimer with those turrets up, and he can't really kill you. But he will push and push and push and push and push and push and push, and there's nothing you can do versus it. At level 6, when you normally roam, you can't. It's a no-no. Heimer's push potential is so great he forces you to stay in lane. If you roam, you will 100% lose the turret. Every time you roam, you'll at least lose 50% of your turret's HP. If TF can't roam, he's useless, so Heimer makes this so. Cassiopeia. Snake is a huge lane bully. A single piece of poison and within range she'll get a multiple E off. This will pretty much put you back in one combo, and this is not a good position to be in. You're immobile, there's nothing you can do to avoid her abilities, and she's quite a powerful early lane bully with decent pushing power to keep you in lane. Overall, snakes are bad. Basically, overall, anyone with heavy mobility who can get into TF's grill is a hard job to be versus. Additionally, any lane bully who also takes advantage of his weak start game should also be avoided. I'll be mentioning this later, but a point I just wanted to make very quickly: if you're versus one of these laners, just don't stay in lane, except of course Heimerdinger or a push-based laner. The basic reason for this is if you're versus a LeBlanc, she will just kill you if you try and stay in lane. Focus all of your time and energy into roaming and just never be in lane. Be in other lanes constantly and only go back to push a wave and then head back. This is how you counter, this is how TF survives. I felt it needed to be put into this section. TF cannot survive versus most of these lanes. They're hell spawn for him. So to counter this, any good TF player will just roam, never stay in lane unless you absolutely have to. Generally, I stay under turret and push waves versus a LeBlanc and then roam with my ultimate. Same for all of these laners except of course the push laners like Heimerdinger or even Mordekaiser to an extent. Leveling order: there is only really one leveling order that 99% of TFs will play. This is seen below. This order basically maxes our biggest damage spell, our Q first, then our E as it's our second highest burst, and of course TC. We need to level at E last as it does good damage but requires you to auto attack and to stack it up, and TF is based around burst with his QW combo, and his E is good but generally it's not a part of that formula as much. Finally, get your ultimate anytime you can, very simple. Last note is just get your W at level 1s just so you have the CC to back your enemy off, and that's pretty much it. Twisted Fate's passive, Loaded Dice. Upon killing a unit, Twisted Fate rolls his dice, granting him 1 to 6 bonus gold. Naturally, Twisted Fate has a higher chance to receive a large bonus. Uses and tips. Number 1, this passive will proc off any unit killed in the game, so you can get gold from last hitting turrets, minions, wards, jungle camps, champions, even pets. Basically, if you can kill it, you can get gold from it. Number 2, Loaded Dice will stack additionally with similar effects such as Avarice Blade. Number 3, the chance of getting 6 gold is a 1 out of 3 chance, while the chance of getting 1 to 5 gold is 2 out of 15 each, making the total average of gold 4. Everyone loves maths. Number 4, Loaded Dice can allow TF to get back into the game item-wise with the extra gold it provides. This is a pretty solid point. When behind, many champions are limited to the minion gold when they're in lane. This is not the case for TF. With the extra gold, he can give himself a fighting chance to get back into the game within a moderate degree, assisted by the extra gold injection. This makes him a tiny little bit more forgiving. Number 5, from the previous point, Twisted Fate's passive may also project him with quite a powerful lead. The extra gold can easily make TF one of the heaviest snowballing based champions. With a kill in his lane and an extra few minions of gold during the laning phase, he can average 200 to 300 gold more than he ever would be able to in any other champion. This is why even with a small advantage, TF can get a lot of damage, more than any other champion could ever hope to have. Number 6, a neat little tactic of this ability: when you abuse the fact that you get gold off all of the creeps regardless of size. So normally trying to get the jungle camps as TF is disadvised as he lacks sustain and the ability to insta clear it. For this is a cool tactic. I go to the birds near the mid lane, red card and Q at an angle that hits all of the birds and back off. This will insta clear all of the small creeps, giving you the base gold on top of the extra gold, giving you a pretty huge gold injection. Leaving the big bird also allows your jungler to get it as well, so you're not stealing the camp, which is the main kind of concern. The buff is the main concern for your jungler, so as long as you're not taking that, it's good. So basically you're going to get the 10 gold for each of the small ones and an average 4 gold for each of them as well. So it actually injects you with a lot of free gold. I heavily advise using this to abuse your passive. Number 7, late game this ability can easily stack around 1.5k to 2000 gold. This is basically a free item once you hit late game, which can easily make it a massive game changer with an extra item. Number 8, once max build, this passive is completely 100% useless as you have no need for gold with the maximum items, so you might as well not have a passive once you get max build. This is quite a large backdrop for this champion, but hell, what can you do? Twisted Fate's Q wild cards. Active, Twisted Fate throws 3 cards forward in an arc, dealing magical damage to enemies they pass through. Ability range 1450. Uses and tips. Number 1, spell shields will block this ability. Number 2, spell vampers reduced to 1/3 effectiveness. Number 3, Rylai's Crystal Scepter will apply a 15% slow. Number 4, this ability is considered to be a projectile for Unbreakable and Wind Wall. Number 5, each enemy can only be hit by 1 card each. Even if you flash in front of the card again, it will not affect you. Additionally, this also means you can't flash into another card and get damaged again. Only 1 card can damage each champion, so no matter if you flash into all 3 of them, it wouldn't matter. You can only get damaged by 1 of them. Number 6, unlike Heimerdinger's Hextech Micro Rockets and Lulu's Glitter Lance, the cast indicator is fixed in the sense that there are 3 skill shots that are aimed collectively, not individually. Number 7, Wildcards is one of the highest non-global / non-ultimate based abilities in the entire game. The massive range of this ability yields us with a few advantages I'll get into throughout this section. Just remember the range of this is one of the highest in the game, it's amazing. Number 8, wildcards are amazing to provide some heavy harassment onto your enemy. While these projectiles are slow moving, the long range of the cards often catch people by surprise. Additionally, the projectiles, unlike many skill shots and pokes, will pass through minions and even do damage to multiple targets are passed. This disallows opponents from blocking with their minion waves, it'll just go through them. They're not collider skill shots. While avoiding your enemy may also hit one of the other 2 main cards. This is an amazing harassment tool. I'm just emphasizing that it's quite difficult for people to avoid this ability. Number 9, as your longest range ability, you should always use this ability to kite at long ranges. This is one of the few reasons why TF is actually such a good kiter. You'll basically be doing this for half of your engagements. Throw Q behind you while running for that kite damage. TF has to do this for a large portion of the game as he is immobile, and any good TF player will be using this. Number 10, the ability is kind of hard to land without a preset. Due to this, wildcards is the main part of your W and Q combo. Landing a Q can be quite difficult versus a vigilant opponent. You generally need a prerequisite with a W gold card lockdown, or at least a red card. Number 11, due to this being your longest projectile ability, you can use this to finish fleeing enemies. Number 12, with some ability power, using red card with wild cards and a minion wave makes Twisted Fate nearly unrivaled in pushing ability and clearing quickly. This is a massive, unbelievably huge point. TF can easily counter minion sieges as well. And also has the ability to just straight up insta clear most minion waves. I will get into this in the combo section at the very end. Number 13, when CSing and pushing, be careful of all card placements. It's easy to forget that you throw 3 cards, so when pushing ensure you at least think about where all the cards are to ensure you get your maximum push potential. This actually goes the same for not pushing. I see a lot of TFs forgetting that it arcs off, so if you don't want to push and you're just last hitting 1 or 2 CS, you can accidentally push the entire wave, so be very careful with the placement of this ability both offensively and defensively. Number 14, this ability's range makes it amazing for getting CS that would otherwise be too unsafe to get with your auto attack range. This ability's massive range means it's nearly impossible to deny CS off of TF in between his cooldowns. Number 15, you can steal Baron and Dragon, and of course the odd buff with the damage and range of this ability. Pretty rare, but it can happen. Number 16, now a good tip for the split push TFs. This ability does not affect turrets, but it is an amazing way to proc a Lynchbane, which is a core item on TF, for its extra damage to the turret. When destroying turrets, you can use your W for its damage, wait for the Lynchbane proc, and then Q even when there's no minions there to proc your Lynchbane a second time to further wreck turrets. This also works just generally when trying to get buffs. Baron, just use your Q to proc your Lynchbane. It's absolutely core. Any good TF player will do this. It procs Lynchbane. This is most notable for taking down massive objectives, but make sure you remember it. It's vitally important. Number 17, the sheer range of this ability means it's perfect for TF to use before a team fight to deal as much poke as you can. Basically, before any team fight, you should be queuing and poking flat out with this ability. It's kind of core. A lot of people before a team fight will just sit back as TF. Always try and poke if you can. Number 18, in team fights, ensure you stay back throwing those Qs. Remember, I just want to emphasize this, TF is a very low mobility based champion, so if in doubt, throw the cards out. The range of this ability is the only reason why TF is okay at teamfights in a safety kind of degree. 1450 range is huge. Sometimes if you can't risk your W, just stay back and use your Q to remain safe at max range so no one can attack you and you're not in risk. Number 19, the range of this ability is also deceptive. You can hit your enemy backline during teamfights. Most people will walk right into the Q thinking that they're protected by their front line. This is one of the few abilities with a long enough range to hit the backline through the front line and from your model. It's very safe to do as well. Number 20, now basic logic, the closer you are, the easier it is to land your Q. If you're safe to do so, the cards spread out gradually, but it origins off TF's model obviously, so it's a basic cluster that your enemy can't avoid. So if they're very low, run right up to them and use your Q for a surefire hit that'll go out in a tri-arc. Make sure you do this if you're in a very advantageous position. I see a lot of people still running and Qing when like someone's got really low health and they can just run up and ensure they hit that Q. Number 21, generally people only avoid the central card and they get off put quite easily. If you throw this ability in an angle or a strange angle, it's kind of not regular, people will easily ruin their perceptions of this ability, making it easier for you to hit them. Now another few points after this that I'll be covering how to land this ability more effectively, as it is a little bit difficult to land sometimes. Number 22, set up your Q with your W gold card. This is basically your most common combo and most common setup. Your Q is a long but admittedly slow skill shot. You need to set up your Q to assuredly hit it, so basically your gold is the best way to do this. Number 23, set up your Q with your W red card. This is another way you can land that W. Your red is quite good for slowing. It is a little harder to land than your gold card, but the slow can be enough just to clip your enemy with that Q. So basically if you poke your enemy with a red card and it just about clips them, you can still use the Q as a setup. It's not only gold card. Number 24, use blind spots. I have a blind spot guide on my channel, sorry for hoarding it out every guide I've been told. If you don't know what they are, check it out there. With this skill shot you can use blind spots. It can really help you in landing it a lot more easily. You can actually just sit back in the middle lane and throw from a mile away and still hit people. It's a really good way. Blind spots are around 20% of what I hit during my laning phase as TF. Number 25. Now this point is one not everyone knows about, but you should be using it a lot. This point is basically a free Q if your enemy is not paying attention. Twisted Fate is one of the few champions that has an ability, his Q, that actually has a longer range than the Fog of War. I'm not joking. If you walk back out of sight of your enemy and throw your Q, they won't see the cast animation of your Q with TF, only the cards which are coming down in their face. So this is an amazing way to hide that casting animation to hit this ability. Most players literally won't see this coming. This is how I land another about 20% of my Qs. Walk back out of the Fog of War, use your Q while they're coming up, and it will go through the Fog of War and hit their face with the tip. It's a simple tactic, but once you start using it, this tactic 100% will never go back. You'll use it every time you can. I kind of use it a bit too often now, and my enemies quickly become tuned to it, but it is a very good tactic. Use your Q out of Fog of War, and while they're walking up just a little bit, and you'll hit them without them ever seeing a casting animation. Number 26, a final note of this ability. This is your most damage based spell. It does the most amount out of everything. This is the ability that needs to be landed. It has to be landed in regards to damage, so ensure you focus on landing this as many times as possible. Twisted Fate's W, pick a card. A note to this is I am going over this ability and not any particular card in general. Active. When first activated, cards flash over TF's head in the following order: blue, then red, then gold. The cycle repeats itself. When he uses the ability again, he picks the current card over his head. The card picked converts his next basic attack within 6 seconds to deal magic damage and adds a special effect. Twisted Fate has 6 seconds to select a card. A note of this ability, as I just mentioned, is I will be cutting it into different sections for each card and each base card, which I'll go over in a few tips on how to use this ability overall in this section as this core ability, and then cover individual examples of each card in the next sections. Ability range 525. All cards are based upon TF's auto attack range, which of course is limited by his auto attack range. Alas, it's 525. This goes for every card I'm about to mention, so I won't mention it again. Uses and tips. Number 1, the magic damage of any of these cards will block the modified attack and its additional effect, but will not block other on-hit effects. Number 2, the triggering attack will still apply on-hit effects, however, as the attack deals no physical damage, it will not benefit from lifesteal. Number 3, critical strikes are disabled on the triggering attack. This makes AD carry TF a little less viable when running out of crit. Number 4, the attack cannot be missed, blocked, dodged, or parried. So these auto attack reduction monsters don't get a free pass on this ability at all. Number 5, the modified attack will increment stacked dex counter. This ability for all intents and purposes is considered to be an auto attack, hence it will work with your E. Some people think they're a separate entity of each. This is not the case. Using your W will stack your E as well, so it's doubly effective. Number 6, pick a card from the previous point is simply an auto attack with an ability onto it. Another cool point you can use with this in mind is the bonus damage of stacked deck. This can actually get your stacked deck up and use pick a card. So if you get your stacked deck up and use pick a card, stacked deck will go on top of pick a card. So if you gold, stacked deck will go on top of the gold. And of course the normal auto attack. If you smash them together, you make some massive burst. This is the reason why you hit like a truck with TF when you come at it with this card. This tactic will ruin anyone. It's very deceptive. So if you get your stack deck up, get your card up, and they will proc together, and they'll just do unbelievable damage. So really good tactic. Number 7, again coming on from the previous point, you can also add Lynchbane to this massive burst. So this is the perfect burst. This is why TF is actually even viable. Get your stack deck, pick a card which will proc Lynchbane. This can easily go over 2000 damage late game, even through magic resist. Late game, I save my stack deck until I see someone out of position, then I flash and use my gold card with this combo. This is the Death Note, or Death card in this case, delete combo. If you want a high burst mage, use these together. Your E, your W gold, your Q and your Lynchbane, this will make some mental burst. Number 8, some people don't know this, but you can actually lock and have cards ready whilst teleporting with your ultimate. I generally advise locking a card just before teleporting, but if rushed you can lock during its cast. This is more for the veteran players. Number 9, you may also lock in a card while during Zhonya's stasis, assuming you use the ability before you actually Zhonya's. This makes Zhonya's quite a powerful item on TF, as it provides him with ample time to relax and pick the best card based upon the situation and use it. A very, very good item on him. Number 10, the damage from pick a card triggers against structures. This is one of the core reasons why TF is one of the best split pushers / turret takers in the entire game. This damage stacks extremely well even later on into the game. If you add Lynchbane to it, that's GG turret really. Number 11, pick a card does not reset Twisted Fate's attack timer on cast, no matter what card you pick or how you time it. This ability will not reset auto attack timers even a little bit. This ability simply stacks upon your auto attacks, it will not reset them. Just a point, I had a silver TF main yell at me when I was playing TF, and he tried to report me for it, so I thought I'd add it into the guide, it's quite funny. Number 12, the picking phase of this ability is one of the easiest ways for TF to zone his enemies heavily. While picking a card, enemy knows that you're looking for a card, and basically 100% of cards coming. This will make them a little bit apprehensive of the possible incoming card, hence zoned. I sometimes linger my pick to the last second and then pick the card at the last second, so I get the maximum amount of zone. This ability, you can nearly keep it up for most of the laning phase, and you can zone extremely heavily off creeps, off anything really. Number 13, if about to die or about to be caught out, double click this ability to pick basically any card and just throw it out. When heavily pressed, you don't have time to sit there and wait 2 seconds to pick that precious gold card, for example. I see many TFs about to die and still waiting till the last second for that gold card. I mean, I respect the dedication, but if you're about to die, double click your W, just smash that key and throw out the card to at least do some damage, or maybe even get a lucky gold or red card. Number 14, now the biggest point of this ability, the 3 different cards in pick a card are set in rotation: blue, red, gold, and it repeats: blue, red, gold, blue, red, gold, blue, red, gold, until the end of time. I notice that the starting card may differ each time you use pick a card, but it will always follow that rotation. The rotation is very important to allow you to predict the time in which you should lock in a card quickly and then throw it. This is the biggest tip of this ability. You have to remember this rotation and use it when you pick any card. So if we use this ability and start in a red card, we know that the next card will be gold, so we lock it in as soon as it changes without ever having to look at it. The time between you looking at the card and going, is that gold? It's a gold, and then locking it in and then throwing it is an extra at least 0.5 seconds, at least. If you instinctually know that the gold card's coming and as soon as it changes you click that W, it means you can stun 0.5 seconds quicker, making you more effective. Remember this order and you'll know which card will come next. If you want to be a good TF player, you have to live by this mantra: blue, red, gold. Number 15, all of these cards can be used to help you last hit under turret, and it's extremely effective. If TF's under turret, the blue card is generally the most common one to help you last hit so you don't miss any CS at all. It's very, 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 very helpful. Anytime you're ever stuck, try to use the gold or blue. Try to avoid using the red because it will AoE and lower all of their healths, but generally these cards are amazing to help you last another turret. Just want to reiterate. TF's W blue card. Twisted Fate's next basic attack will deal magical damage and restore mana. Mana restored 50, 75, 100, 125 and 150. Uses and tips. Number 1, Spell Vamp is fully applied. Number 2, Viralized Crystal Scepter will apply 35% slow. Number 3, so blue card deals the most damage out of every other card. It's not much, but it really makes a difference early, so if you want to deal only damage to a target and you don't care if they're CC'd, ensure you use that blue card. Number 4, TF's blue card is mainly used to maintain his mana pool throughout the laning phase. TF has some pretty big mana cost, so if you don't use your blue cards enough, you will quickly go out of mana. This expands as a greater point than the face. This means CSing a lane, use the blue card every time, assuming you don't want to push the wave. I try to keep my mana pool at around 40% minimum at all times. When CSing, just generally, or just, staying in lane, just being relaxed, this is the main time you'll use blue card just to maintain that mana pool. Very basic, but very important. Number 5, blue card is actually your best low level harassment tool. Your blue card again does the most damage. So out of all card, if you're just thinking about damaging someone just for a basic bit of harass when they're out of position, this is your best card for it, assuming you don't want to go in too deep. Number 6, when taking turrets you should 100% every single damn time use the blue card. I'm sorry, but it really annoys me when I see people using gold cards. You might as well get that mana back. Never ever use any other card within reason. Your blue will do the most damage to the turret and gives you mana after using it. What more could you ask for? Using a red will do less damage and provides an AoE slow, which is pointless if no one's there. Your gold, the same thing, it can't stun a turret and it does even less damage than the red. Basically, just use your blue anytime you're taking a turret, anytime. Number 7, coming on from the previous point, as your blue card does the most damage, ensure you use it on all big monster camps. Baron and Dragon cannot be CC'd. This means the other cards won't have any effect and their CC effects are nullified completely, and on top of that they deal less damage. Only a little bit, but I'm just making a point of it. You might as well not do this. You can't gold card the Baron, so you might as well do more damage and get your mana back. This point should be given, as I see so many people gold carding Baron and Dragon, it nearly makes me cry. Like, when getting these objectives, blue card every time. Honestly guys, when you start doing this and you realize the logical impurities of trying to gold card it really does make a difference. Honestly, blue card every time you're using on Baron and Dragon, every single time. I do apologize for repeating myself, just it's a very important point. Number 8, if you're really low on mana and losing the lane, you're going to want to get that mana back. You want to CS with your Q, you want to do some combos to your enemy, but you're too low on mana and the minions are there, and obviously your enemy will just kill you if you've got no mana. So to get the free blue card, you run down a little bit down the river and blue card and grab the little birds, hit one of the birds or the raptors, and then run back. From here you're going to get free mana completely without risk. So a lot of issue when you're in the mid lane is if you're low on mana, you're just zoned completely. So to avoid this, go back, W for the birds just to get some free mana, and then run away immediately so you don't take any damage from them. But during intervals between the laning phase, you can do this a lot and get a lot of free mana back without any risk at all, without having to face your enemy. You will do this once you've started more often than you think. You can also W the Scuttle Crab, but it's a little bit more difficult. Number 9, sort of coming on from the previous point, if you're about to rotate down to another lane, try and get a blue card for free mana for the gank you're about to do, or of course to get some mana back if you're running away before they catch you. Basically, if you're running down bot lane, blue card the Scuttle if you're on low mana. Only don't do this if you're on high mana, obviously, but if you're on like half mana, throw a blue card to the Scuttle. By the time you get back to that lane, the card will be up again anyway, so you haven't wasted anything. Constantly a blue card on the roam is what I'm trying to say. Number 10, TF's blue card comes with a pretty big sticky note on top of it. The reason why no high level TF uses blue card is due to the fact that it provides no CC and can be outplayed. Don't pick blue card every fight, or in any real fight ever. If there's a proper engaged fight, beyond you just throwing a blue card to harass your enemy, don't pick blue card. Blue card should never be used in any proper engage ever. Any heavy trade, never. Your blue card does not slow or stun. It does a little bit more damage, but it means your enemy can dive on top of you and burst you while you can't stun or slow them. In addition, the blue card can't lock down your enemy for that WQ combo, which your gold and to the similar extent red can do. So overall, blue card allows you to poke a little bit, but it should not be used in all ins as it has no CC to stop your enemy from their advances, and it won't set up your Q, which is your most damage based ability. Only use your W if you've no mana at all besides one ability. So if you're about to die and you've got the blue card up, just throw the blue just to get that mana back so you can Q before you die. Most people know this already, thankfully. I just wanted to mention it and just kind of go over why you should not use blue cards in proper hard fights. Number 11, if you don't have enough mana for your combo and fighting, you may be forced to use the blue card to get enough mana for another W activation, or of course just to give you enough mana to use that Q. Many TFs will gold card even on 0 mana, meaning that after the gold card has been used, they're completely out of mana and will die. Like, without mana, you're done for as TF. If you gold, you don't have another cast for Q, but if you blue, you can get another cast. If you're in dead low mana and you've got like just enough for one more W, use it for the blue card so you can get the mana to use a Q or maybe another W later on. This is good when you're stuck without mana in any situation. Overall, use blue cards when you're casually CSing, when you're very low on mana during fights, while getting turrets and monster objectives. These are the only times, realistically speaking, you're ever gonna have to use blue card. Twisted Fate's W red card. Twisted Fate's next basic attack will deal magical damage to both the target and all enemies within 100 range of the target. All damaged enemies will be slowed for 2.5 seconds. Movement speed slow 30, 35, 40, 45 and 50%. Uses and tips. Number 1, Spell Vamp is reduced to 1/3 effectiveness. Number 2, first and foremost, this ability is core in pushing minion waves. Again, I'll go into this in detail later in the combo section. This point is vitally important, and keep an eye on wave clear combos later on with this point in mind. Number 3, TF's red card is a fantastic harassment based tool. Simply throwing it at an enemy as they're slowed, they'll take damage, and it means you can also easily get away. The red card does damage and it slows them from retaliating. Number 4, from the previous point, this ability's AoE can be used to harass unaware enemies. Many good players will rarely let you get in within 525 range to be hit by a card. So if an enemy ever stands near minion waves, throw the card at the minions so the AoE damage from the red card will hit the creep, bounce off within 100 radius, and hit the champion standing beside them. The AoE can be used to surprise many enemies. Number 5, this ability should be used in teamfights if your enemies are clumped heavily. You should use red card to deal the full amount of AoE damage to your enemy. Most people have this gold card all the time in their heads. Ensure in situations, or certain situations, that you should be aware of which card should be most appropriate. When your enemies are clumped, the red card is 10 times more effective than a single gold card. Number 6, this card is fantastic at kiting your enemy and of course kiting groups of enemies. The movement speed, slow and damage can easily help you escape or kite. Number 7, the red card can be used as a mild peel tool for you and your backliners. The movement speed slow can peel pretty effectively for your AD carry, for example. It's easier to run away from a slowed enemy than an unslowed one. Number 8, you can use your card to slightly stall minion waves. If you cast your red card in the middle of the frontline melee creeps, the movement speed slow will stop them from travelling so far, hence not reaching the turret that could cost you some CS. TF no likey under the turrety. Number 9, TF's W red card can be used as a possible secondary setup for your Q. The movement speed slow can be a massive help to help you land that all important Q. Again, you don't always have to gold card. The red is good enough, the 50% slow late game can help you hit that Q. The W red can be suffice. Number 10, this ability's AoE damage will also proc off turrets. So if your enemy is heavily and literally turret hugging, the AoE splash will go from the turret and hit your enemy under it. A lot of people forget this and it's a cool little tip. Number 11, when clearing jungle camps, this is the card for you. Remember, all camps in League of Legends have multiple NPCs inhabiting them. This means the AoE damage will hit all NPCs including the camp, the main camp, meaning you can clear the camp a lot quicker than a single target card counterpart. Number 12, so overall, use this to push minion waves, clear jungle, AoE clumped enemies, and use to kite your enemy when they're clumped. TF's W gold card. Twisted Fate's next basic attack will deal magical damage and stun the target. Stun duration 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75 and 2 seconds. Uses and tips. Number 1, Spell Vamp is fully applied. Number 2, Rally's Crystal Scepter will apply a 35% slow. Number 3, your gold card stun scales with level. Late game it's a 2-second stun with a potential 6-second cooldown. This is the reason why TF is such a good champion, or one of the notable reasons. Number 4, first and foremost, before the deeper tips, TF's gold card is used to set up your WQ combo. As the stun locks down your enemy in place, it assures 100% that you're gonna land the wild cards. This is your absolute core combo. Your Q has the lion's share of TF's damage, hence you want to land it. This is one of the main reasons why you basically nearly always want a gold card to set up that Q. Number 5, now a massive point. After the gold card and you've queued, ensure you walk up and finish this with an auto attack if you're feeling a little bit advantageous. This is basically adding to your free burst. After your WQ combo, you have a small amount of time while your enemy is under the influence of the stun for one more auto attack before backing out. Ensure you do this to maximize TF's potential. Number 6, this card deals the least amount of damage compared to your other cards, but also has the benefit of assuring ahead of your Q. Just to note, so don't use this card to kill big monster objectives or turrets. The blue card is for that, as I previously mentioned. Number 7, Twisted Fate's gold card has another main use. This card is amazing at making picks by locking down your enemy and for yourself and your team. TF's gold card has been nicknamed the Death card for a reason. He has an on-hit stun with a low cooldown and a decent range. You should always be trying to death card people or even a little bit out of position. So during a team fight, if the AD carries a little bit behind his team while they're all peeling back towards their turret, flash gold. He's now out of position and you can make the pick really easily. Someone in a team fight overextends a little bit, gold card them immediately. Someone comes up to poke your team, gold card them, and the whole team will dive and kill them. TF's gold card is a pick tool. You have to do this to make TF viable. Number 8, your death card is basically your best chance of setting up ganks and making those ganks become successful out of all of the rest of your cards. The stun sets up your Q and locks down your enemy from escaping during ganks. In addition, your gold card is your only low cooldown ability to resist ganks. A stun to the face can stop any jungler. Basic but useful, it sets up and resists ganks. Number 9, everyone knows TF's gold card means a full combo coming towards them, and overall a fruitless trade for your enemy. Due to this, if you have your gold card up, it's the best card to zone your enemy from CS or just generally. Your gold card is the best card to zone by a long shot. The immediate lockdown and setup for your entire combo and the assured setup is something most people will avoid, so run at your enemy with the gold card if you want to make them miss siege creeps. Just back off maybe. Number 10, you can use this card to kite your enemies. Stun makes it very easy to run. You can also escape with this. Number 11, TF's W gold card can be used to peel. Personally, I don't think it's done enough. You can use your card defensively to peel for your own backline. So many people just aggressively stun with TF. If an Aurelia dives your backline, throw a gold card on her so you can save your AD carry. It's very good to peel defensively for your team. TF generally, if during a team fight, he's not going to run up and gold card their backline. It's too difficult to achieve. But if you can only use your Q safely to get to their backline, you might as well use your W defensively to try and peel for people. Basically, don't be selfish with this ability. Number 12, you can use the stun of your gold card to take the blue buff with minimal damage. The stun on top of the blue means it can't attack you as much and allows you to kite it a little bit more easily, meaning you take less damage, which is pretty important if you're taking it by yourself. Number 13, the gold card is a stun, hence it can be used to stop channel based abilities like Katarina and Nunu's ultimate. Number 14, if ever invading, you should be using this card and this card only. This is your best invade tool. A longish range on hit stun equals free first blood. Number 15, when using your ultimate, this is the card you will be dropping in every single time. Just a small point, don't ulti in with the blue card. Your ulti should be going with your gold card like bread and butter. Honestly, if you come in with the blue card, you're going to be very embarrassed when you can't lock anyone down. Number 16, overall gold card is used to set up your Q, which is your core combo. Kite and escape, and finally to make big picks with the lockdown of your team. Sorry, one last reiteration guys, I do apologize for this. I'll cover all of the cards one more time and what they're meant to be used for. Blue card, casually CSing when you're low on mana and while getting turret and monster objectives, and that's it. Red card, to push minion waves, clear jungle, AoE clumped enemies and kite your enemy when they're clumped. That's all. Gold card, to set up your Q, which is your core combo, to kite and escape, and finally to make big picks with the lockdown for yourself and your team. and additionally just to go in with your ultimate to lock people down when ganking. And that's it. Twisted Fate's E, Stack Deck. Passive. Twisted Fate gains bonus attack speed, and every 4th basic attack will deal bonus magical damage. Attack speed bonus 10, 15, 20, 25 and 30%. Uses and tips. Number 1, spell shields will block the entire damage except on hit effects. Number 2, the triggering attack will apply on hit effects and can critically strike as normal. Number 3, Ruined's Hurricane will not trigger this effect, but it will generate stacks, meaning every basic 2 attacks you'll be using your stack deck. Means it's pretty cool AD carry TF, here we come. Number 4, the empowered attack will be dodged or missed. Empowerment will not consume during attack attempts. Number 5, Stack Deck will go through block and parry while the triggering attack will be mitigated. Number 6, attacks against structures will not increment the counter nor consume the empowered attack, although the attack speed is still useful. Number 7, picking Stack Deck as your first ability can lead to a large amount of surprisingly strong single target damage. This is more of a cheese tactic, but it can surprise some seriously unexpected enemies. It can lead to a first blood or at least a heavy amount of pressure start game that most people just never expect. Number 8, this ability helps CSing at all points in the game. The attack speed means you can finish and switch targets far more easily, and of course the actual stack decked empowerments can help achieve this means as well. CSing under turret is also quite easily as TF as well. TF is a very easy last hitting champion overall with his W and his E helping out. Number 9, once Stack Deck is up, you can use this as a pretty decent harassment till a lot of people discount this ability pretty severely. It does decent damage and is a core part of your burst. Number 10, due to the previous point, your enemies will see when this ability is up due to the circle of cards encompassing Twisted Fate's character model. Use this to your advantage to help deny CS or at the very least keep your enemy on their toes. Number 11, always attempt to keep Stack Deck for enemy champions if you ever can. In lane I hold this ability like it's worth its weight in gold. This can help your all in pretty heavily. Number 12, now a pretty big rant. This ability means you have to constantly auto attack in Twisted Fate in any all-in or even when it's relatively safe to do so. You have free attack speed with this ability and it does more damage than any of your W cards. Yes, that's right, that's a fact. Check the stats if you don't believe me. Your E-Stack Deck does more damage than your gold, even blue card. Many people basically never use this ability in any way, shape or form. They passively allow it to be used. They never auto attack, never even consider using Stack Deck. When I'm playing, I personally always am counting stack decks in my mind, seeing if I have enough to ultimate in with. This is a core part of your burst and provides you with a crap ton of auto attack damage, so use it, please. Just remember, this ability does more damage than the W gold card. If you look at it like that, with that equivalation, you really do see it coming to light. Number 13, from the previous point, if versus a low range lane, you can easily use this ability to throw a barrage of auto attacks in their face. TF is one of the best early auto attack harassers due to this ability. If you're not auto attack harassing as TF versus a neutral or a low range lane, you're not playing TF correctly. Number 14, when running or even generally just running around, I stack my E in neutral camps to ensure I have it for the gank, or when my enemies catch up to me, of course. So for example, if I run to gank top pre-level 6, I auto attack the crab until I get my stack deck full before I actually reach the lane. You should always basically be doing this before if you ever get the chance. Number 15, this ability is actually extremely powerful in clearing minion waves a lot more quickly in the early stages of the game. You should be auto attack pushing basically all the time. Number 16, the final point, Stack Deck is boss at pushing down turrets. The attack speed on top of a full AP TF's build makes him shred turrets with this ability. Another one of the core reasons why TF is one of the best split pushers in the game. Number 17, oh did I mention the auto attack? Twisted Fate's R/Ultimate Destiny/Gate. Active number 1, Destiny. Twisted Fate reveals all enemy champions, including stealth champions, for a duration. After a 0.5 second delay, Twisted Fate can use Gate once while Destiny is active. Active number 2, Gate. After channeling for 1.5 seconds, Twisted Fate teleports to the target location within range. Vision duration is 6, 8 and 10 seconds. Ability range 5500. Uses and tips. Number 1, spell shields will be popped once Destiny is activated. When this happens, it will block the vision aspect of this for only the champion with spell shield on. I noticed that this will not stop you from being able to port it on top of from a TF. You simply won't have vision of the champion who had spell shield on. Number 2, a point I wanted to cover early, Gate cancel with CC during its cast. It can be cancelled. This can stop you from teleporting. Directly from this point, you should never be teleporting in front or near someone who can cancel the animation with any form of hard CC. Number 3, Twisted Fate's Destiny once cast will give vision to all champions. This of course includes vision of stealth champions. This makes TF amazing versus stealth based compositions and champions. Vayne no stealth, Akali no stealth, Twitch no stealth, you get it. He's very good versus these champions, so even late game if Akali bubbles and no one has a pink ward, don't be afraid to use your ultimate to get vision of her as the game progresses. Number 4, from the previous point, if an enemy is very low or near you, or even across the map, use this ultimate to give you and your allies vision of the champion. Example, Twitch's bot lane, he's a single auto attack off death, but he gets invisible. Use your ultimate to get your bot lane the kill. You don't always necessarily have to get the kill yourself, you can even just help people over the map with this ability. It's kind of a rare circumstance, I just wanted to mention it. Number 5, Destiny can also reveal stealth units such as Stealth Wards and Shaco's Jack in the Box or Timus Noxian Trap, but only if the enemy champion is within sight or range of them. It's a pretty cool snippet, it's got very small uses, but I thought it was interesting. Number 6, Nocturne's Paranoia prevents Destiny's reveal no matter if Destiny is cast before or after Paranoia, but doesn't prevent the use of Gate, although Destiny will still reveal after Paranoia ends if the duration permits. This basically means Nocturne can counter you pretty heavily. In solo queue without communication, you'll never know what you're telling into without vision. Remember, you can still gate, it will just mean you've no vision, so be very sure before you port. Number 7, the stasis provided from Zhonya's Hourglass active will interrupt Gate's channel. This is your get out of jail free card. You can actually just gate in, then use Zhonya's, because it will cancel the gate, but the animation will still be there, so you can actually bait people to run around where you've gated. This can waste their time. I've seen this in high level play. Gate in Zhonya's, everyone will collapse upon your gate, giving your team time to catch up, or even if you just messed up and you went, oh crap, I shouldn't have ported there, use your Zhonya's, it will cancel your own ultimate. So this is pretty cool. It's actually a pretty cool point. You can bait people. It's more of a higher level tactic, but it's still very useful. Number 8, now the reason you play TF end of. You have to use this ability semi-global range to roam and gank other lanes. Once you get your ultimate, you should be constantly trying to roam and gate into other lanes to turn the tides of any battle. This is the only reason why TF is so powerful during the laning phase. Literally the only reason. If you do not use this, you should not play TF. He is not good for lane. He's a utility mage. He can get around and help everyone. He's a gank based mage. If you're staying in lane, you're messing him up pretty badly. If you roam to other lanes, you can get free kills and basically help other lanes out. He is literally played for no other reason. So if you're not roaming with TF or don't like to, don't play TF. Just don't. You have to roam every single time this ultimate is up to stack fights and win your team and yourself the whole game with semi-global ganks. Number 9, whenever gating in and ganking with this ability, make sure you ping your team so they know you're coming. This should be a 100% thing every single time. Ping 2 or 3 times just so everyone knows. Get ready, get into position guys, I'm coming down. This is to ensure that your team get into position to help you out, or at the very least get mentally prepared for it. It's always good just to help your team out because they don't know you're porting in until you're porting in. At least giving them a prerequisite should help them out. Never assume your own team have seen you coming. Ping. Number 10, when gating in, you should try and have 2 things up. Your gold card and hopefully your stack deck, although it's not a prerequisite, it's just nice. These 2 things are not 100%, but any good TF player will note that and try and fix at least one of them before gating in. Generally, as you gate, you should always have gold card selected. Number 11 is generally a good plan to have the card chosen by pick a card before using Destiny, especially if you're going to land close to your enemy. You should lock your gold card in before the ultimate, then activate Destiny, and then a secondary effect. Gate in and then gank from here. This is the newbie way of doing it. So if you're not very confident in CF, do this tactic. Lock your gold before you ultimate. Number 12, you can use pick a card while channeling gate, basically while teleporting, allowing for a faster gate due to not having to spend time locking in the gold card. This is for the more experienced TF players, or just generally if you're a good player. If you're new, use the previous point. If you're experienced, use this point for a quicker card selection. Activate your ultimate and pick the card while teleporting in, and it'll be a lot more of a snap reflex rather than picking a card then going in. So basically, it's up to you which one to use. Number 13, coming on from the previous 2 points, make sure to not use pick a card too early either, as having your gold card run out as you gate in will lead to an embarrassment and likely a fruitless death. Number 14, Destiny is god at assisting you in catching and finishing off fleeing enemies. The massive semi-global range of this ability can allow you to port beside them and of course finish them off. This includes someone in your lane and of course other lanes. This point also goes for all game. Like, a lot of people forget this point later on. Late game people always get very low, very low, and they stick around, and then, you know, have you ever seen someone sieging an objective then backing out? With TF, it doesn't let this happen. Basically, in any lane, anytime, anywhere, use your ultimate to ensure people will basically have to run back to base rather than you killing them. Never let someone cheat death, that's your job. And as they say, you can't cheat a cheater. Number 15, if in a pickle... Oh, that sounds horrible. I sound like I'm 80 in a pickle. You know, if you're done for mate, as they say in my country, you can use this ability to get to another lane or even just back to the safety of your turret. Only do this in emergencies and avoid if ever possible. You should mainly be using this ultimate to port to other lanes and gank aggressively, not defensively to save turrets, but if top lane's losing their turret, port in up there and save the turret, you might as well. Sometimes you're gonna have to. Number 16, if you get fed, you can use this ability to port near people farming in the side lanes, or just lanes generally, even if they're a tiny bit out of position. If you're ahead, you can easily duel anyone if ahead, even without your team's help. People never expect you to go by yourself. This is a massive, huge point if ahead. If you're ever really ahead, start roaming other lanes while they're trying to pick up farms. So basically, even if you get 2 to 5 kills, you can tally in and kill basically anyone with that kind of advantage. Make people even farming with full HP at the side of lanes fear you. Basically, this is mainly applicable to AD carries and supports. They're nearly always out of drop. AD carries are the most common prey you'll be doing with this tactic. They're always farming side lanes, trying to get back into the lane. Punish this. Number 17, you can actually save allies with this ability. Once activated, people will assume his turn is coming, or at the very least, you know, behind them, you're there with a gold card, fed. You know, this puts people off even coming near your enemy to finish them off. No joke, you can actually just activate this and some people will just back off free kills. It's it is a horrible thing, but of course you can use it to your advantage. Number 18, if you or your team are suspicious of your enemy's position late game, use this to find out where your enemies are. This is a great way for enemy positional checks. You don't always have to teleport, sometimes the vision later on into the game is enough with this ability. No one should be forced to face check with a TF late game. Number 19, do you know who Xpeka is? You know, he's a good looking guy. Well, people will call you a good looking guy too. They're going to call you Xpeka. So you want this said to you, right? You know, everyone does, you know. This is due to the backdoor potential this ability opens up. If your enemies leave their base, you can use this to teleport in and kill their base. Split some turrets. So if all your allies or enemies are top lane, teleport bot lane and go take all of their turrets before they even have time to react. This ability, and of course TF's turret eating kit, makes him one of the best split pushers and backdoors in the entire game. So when they all go top, tally bot, take objectives. When everyone goes bot, tally mid, take all the objectives. This is a split pusher's dream. In addition, if you even run up to the objective, you can teleport away while split pushing if they react to you and close down on you. A very good split push ability. Number 20, in a sticky situation, you can actually use teleport to escape. Just ensure you aren't using it in front of someone with any hard CC so it can't be cancelled. Always try and get the distance off, or at least try to teleport in a bush. But basically, overall, you can use this to escape as well. A very good escape ability. Number 21, a cool tactic for teamfighting is using this ability to get behind the enemy backline with your gate. This is called a positional split. This means the front line will be going forward and smashing with your front line, and you'll be teleporting, leaving the front line in dust, so there's no one to peel for them. Teleport behind them and just gold Q their AD carry. And this is a pincer movement, and they can't do anything about it. This is a fantastic tactic to go literally over that pesky front line. So basically there's very few mid laners that can just immediately teleport beside the back line, so always try and do this. A note to this is, do try and teleport a little bit behind out of their vision and then run down to fight them. So if you're fighting a Baron pit, teleport in a bush and then run behind them, and so they have the least amount of time to react. This is a very good tactic. This tactic alone can single-handedly win you a game. Number 22, if you're ever in risk of being juked in a close fight, you need vision of your enemy juking in the bushes, use your ultimate so they can't hide. Number 23, TF is forgiving to being out of position. You can join fights from basically across the map if a team fight ever starts. This means it's kinda hard to miss a team fight as TF. Personally, from this point, I like split pushing another lane, forcing someone to come down to deal with me, and then telling in once they are near there. This will turn the fight into a 5v4 when I teleport in. I'll get into this in the teamfight section. It's more of a higher level tactic, but it works so well. Number 24, with Destiny, be very careful with your gate placement. This really depends on the scenario, but don't gate on top of people. Try and cut enemies off and give yourself plenty of time to repair that W. Also, don't jump into certain death. I'm not going over this too much, you will learn quite quickly, trial and error as it were, but just make sure you think before you pour it in. Number 25, finally, ensure you keep a good eye on the map for any potential roams. This is just a small note, but with us playing TF, you need at least basic map awareness, so you really just can't play this champion. Just keep an eye on the map and you should be fine. Combo pretext, these combos are pretty much core in Twisted Fate. Now a couple of points in TF's casting playstyle. Many casters have varying casting playstyles that come in varying forms. An example is Akil, who has sustained caster style in which she provides damage over long periods of time during a trade to ensure she gets her E damage off, overall greater longevity as it requires her to auto attack and do damage over a longer period of time. Whereas someone such as a Veigar will use all of his abilities in one go and have nothing left after this. I'll now cover TF's caster style. TF's caster style is burst. This means basically TF wants to burst with his damage with his WQ combo, for example, and then back off immediately after. TF has limited sustain damage beyond his auto attacks. It is okay sustain damage, but for the most part it's not applicable versus any laner. So basically with TF, fire out your abilities and run. Do not stay around after your burst. Wait for your cooldowns and then go back for one more trade. This is a very important point. Ensure all of your damage comes in quick succession with quick combos I'm about to cover. One little note, use your W in these upcoming combos. I didn't exactly mention which card type in certain combos, so if I just say W, it's up to your own discretion on which card to use. Just use the card most appropriate. For the most part, this will be the yellow card unless wave clearing. One last point, auto attacks and E will both be symbolized with your E ability. Now let's get into it. Zone combos. Zone combo number 1, pick a card. This comes in two different phases, both for the duration of picking a card, which you should maximize, and then when you actually grab your card when it's on TF. Both of these durations used in combination will heavily zone your enemy. When picking a card, your enemy knows which card is coming, and once it's actually chosen in your hand, they know it's going to come 100% and which effect's going to happen. Generally, if you link up both of these pick phases and choose phases, it's actually a long longevity to zone your enemy with. Zone combo number 2, E. Your enemies will see when you stack death up. Due to this, they're probably going to avoid the extra damage, so it's a slight zone to your enemy. It's not a hard zone, but people will generally be a little bit apprehensive when they see it up. Harass combos. Harass combo number 1, auto attack. Versus melee laners, you can easily throw a few auto attacks to do some dull but easily stackable damage. This is a little bit risky on a 525 auto attack range Twisted Fate, but if the enemy laner can't punish you too much depending upon the scenario and matchup, you should be doing this in between CSing. Harass combo number 2, Q. Now your bread and butter harassment tool, your Q has insane range and a lowish cooldown. You should be using it on blind spots, out of the fog of war, and of course just straight up in your enemy's face. You should be harassing with your Q and wilt them down with this ability. Harass combo number 3, W, Any. Your W is another fantastic harassment ability. Your cards do extra damage and lock down your enemies. Generally this can be any card, but normally I advise either your gold or red card to ensure a counter engage is countered. Harass combo number 4, W gold, auto attack, preferably with stack deck, but it's not needed. At early levels and saving mana or conserving it in some degree, you should use your W gold card to lock down your enemies. From here, auto attack while your enemy are under the influence to stun so they can't slip in a little bit more damage from the auto attack. So remember, once they're under the influence of the stun, they can't retaliate, so auto attack on top of this just one time, then back out. Harass combo number 5, W gold, Q. This is the most common combo you will be using. This is the core combo. Use your gold card to lock down your enemy. Once they're under the influence of the stun, throw out that Q so you can't miss it while they're stun target. If you're feeling cocky, you can add an auto attack from here, but it is optional, depends upon how confident you are. WQ is the just general common combo. This combo you should be using at least 30 times during a game, at least. Overall, this is how you should be playing TF. You have to slowly wilt down your enemies with your harassment combos in quick bursts, then run out, and just slowly wilt them down so they're so low they can't take you. The range of a Q can be slowly used to null down their health a little bit. Avoid all-inning or even trading in TF as he has crappy all-in and trade potential. Trade combos. Just previously mentioned, Twisted Fate shouldn't trade too much. These so-called trade combos are sort of counter trades. These combos are basically used when trading to both do damage so they don't get a free trade, but also to get away and kite your enemy. Basically, I'll summarize these combos as cover fire combos. Trade combo number 1, W. Once an enemy gets on you, immediately activate that W or go for the gold or at least red card and throw it at your enemy and just keep on backing off from here. Only use the blue card if they missed all of their CC and it's a free shot, although that's pretty much rare. Trade combo number 2, W gold, Q. Same combo as before, use your W gold or red if you haven't got much time for an easier Q proc once they're locked down, and then just try and run away. You might as well get some damage with that Q while running away to punish your enemy to some sort of degree. All-in combos. Again, you don't really need to all-in on TF. Your W Q burst and run, only all-in if they have low enough health and you're 100% gonna win the trade after you've poked them down with your combos. These combos are only for scenarios that after you've poked your enemy down and you'll 100% win the fight, no joke. All-in combo number 1, W auto attack. Use your W gold or red to lock down your enemy. From here, run up and auto attack them until they're dead or at least pretty low and they can't get down. So basically, while you're auto attacking, make sure you're stifling those autos and running up with it after each auto attack just to make sure it's effective. All-in combo number 2, auto attack, W gold, Q, auto attack. Begin with the auto attack, run up into position, W gold them down. From here, once they're stunned, use your Q so you can't miss it, and from here just keep on auto attacking and they should die. All in combo number 3, W gold, Q, auto attack, ultimate, W, Q. Begin with that gold card, Q. From here start auto attacking. If they flash or use some other ability to try and get away, activate that ultimate down on top of them and use any card which is most appropriate, probably the gold, to lock them down and Q to finish them off. This is more of a running away combo and it's quite general. Wave clear combos. As a mid laner, it's nearly always your job to clear minion waves quickly and effectively. This is a massive section, especially in a wave clear champion like Twisted Fate. You have to know how to clear waves perfectly to play any champion. This goes 10-fold for mid laners and 100-fold for wave clear mid laners like TF, who has powerful wave clear potential. Wave clear combo number 1, Q, auto attack, Q. Begin this combo with your Q to the entire wave while it's lined up. From here, keep auto attacking down the wave. From here, when you get your Q back on, when the line spreads out, hit as many creeps as you can with your Q and finish off as many are needed with your auto attacks. Again, this is all seen below. Q while it's straight, auto attack, and Q to finish off after. Wave clear combo number 2, W, Q. This is your insta clear combo with enough AP. If you're doing even okay, you should have enough AP to immediately wipe out a wave as seen below. Begin with your W and pick the red card. From here, use it in the middle melee creep so the AoE damage hurts the melee frontline completely. From here, Q down the entire wave and it should wipe out the entire wave, casters and melees. This is seen below, it's your most effective combo. Wave clear combo number 3, Q, W red, Q. Now, if you don't have that much AP and you're quite far behind, you're normally meant to use your wave clear combo number 2, but this is the more effective one if you're behind. So generally you shouldn't want to use this combo, but if you can't clear, insta clear, use this one. So run towards the line and Q the wave while it's coming down the lane. So try to Q it early, don't wait, like run right to the edge of the turret and Q it while the whole wave's coming so the cooldown comes down as quick as possible. From here, red card, the melee creeps again, the middle melee creep. After this, use your Q while the wave's finished off. You should get your Q back and cooldown and Q to finish off the entire wave. Again, this is all seen below. Q, W the red, and Q again. Generally, your wave clear combo number 2 is the one you want. Only use this one if you're behind or just lacking AP. Okay, here's a list of all of the combos you just heard. With mid laners, they're pretty much your bread and butter. They'll be in the description below to download. If it's not there, kick my ass as normal. Laning section. This section will be covering a conceptual explanation on how to play TF using my stance theory. This is covered in my mid lane guide part 1 that you should watch at 1.5 to 1.5 speed if you're a fluent English speaker. Refer to it if you haven't seen it. I'll be covering the potential ways you should be playing TF and at what stage of the game he can be played in the varying versatile playstyles depending on of course who your verse is. Pre-level 6 playstyle number 1. Farm. Pre-level 6, 99% of TFs should be playing safe and just farming. I generally don't even advise trying to go, even thinking about kill stance. Pre-level 6 TF His best matchups are ones he goes equal with. Pre-level 6 I advise only farming and winning only for jungle ganks when going aggressive. TF can set these up quite well with his gold card. Other than that, rush your level 6 and just farm, just relax, and don't die. If you don't die, you're fine. If you don't die, you're going to have lots of time to get your XP and gold, so you can actually roam at level 6 and get your kills, which is what you're designed for. You're not designed to kill in the laning phase, unfortunately. Level 6 playstyle number 1, kill. At level 6, TF can start doing well with his first AP item. Versus only good matchups should you try and kill your enemy. Drill him down with your WQ combos and eventually all in. Very simplistic, generally it doesn't happen too much, but it can happen. Level 6 plus playstyle number 2, push, roam. Now the playstyle you should be using. TF specializes in wave clearing and roaming to other lanes with his ultimate. As soon as you get level 6, start shoving the waves with the wave clear combo number 2 usually. From here, run down and use your ultimate to get to another lane and global gank. This is how to play TF. This is the core way. He isn't played for his lane. It's okay, but he isn't played for it. He's played to roam and snowball other lanes and himself. Basically push and then use your ultimate to port to another lane. Perfect. Level 6 plus playstyle number 3, push, farm. With your ability to insta-clear minion waves, you can easily just go to push farm stance. This basically means you'll blow up the minion wave, getting all of the gold, putting pressure on your mid who will have to counter push it. From here, go and get the rapture birds. Or the wolves. This is a very safe way of reaching late game. Generally only use this stance when my ultimate's in cooldown, so I use stance number 2. As soon as I'm on cooldown, I use my stance number 3 and go back to number 2 as soon as the cooldown's up. This is a very safe way of playing, and it also puts a lot of pressure on your enemy mid laner, ensuring they can't roam. And notice that you can mix and match all of these playstyles depending of course on your circumstances, which means what your team's doing, how the enemy team's doing, the matchup. These are not static playstyles, these are just possible ways of playing TF and the main fold lion's share ways of playing him. And that's it for the laning phase. It's up to yourself to choose the playstyle you're best suited for, and of course the playstyle is best versus your laner and the enemy team. Teamfight section. Your role in teamfights comes in 3 possible stages. The first is poke phase. This is basically what TF should be doing before a teamfight if he can't use split phase. I'll get into them both soon. After this, you'll transcend onto the regular phase, which is basically how you should just normally teamfight after these phases have been done, and how after the teamfight has officially started. Let's get into it. Poke phase. In a full 5v5 stir off mid lane, or just generally whatever lane you're in, you should always be attempting to get as much poke off as you can onto your enemy. Use your wildcards with their massive range and even blind spots or the fog of war to poke at your enemy. Use this to your advantage and throw out as many poke abilities as you can. Basic but very important. With such long range abilities, you've no excuse but not to poke before a team fight. Split phase. Now, TF is one of the best turret pushers in the entire game, no contest. His E with his attack speed, W with its ability to damage a turret, and Lynchbane 99% of the time makes him a turret chomper. Add in an insta wave clear and finally an ability to either teleport to these objectives or split push another lane and teleport in when the fight actually happens. Amazing. Before a fight, split into another lane. So say that both teams are fighting mid lane, rotate down to bot lane to split off. And let's say bot lane starts putting massive pressure on it. Just start taking your turrets. Now one of 2 things will happen. They will do number 1, which means that you can split and get all of the turrets. And just tell your team to back off and just don't let a real team fight start. So either they're not going to respond to you and you get all of the turrets, or number 2, they'll send someone to deal with you. If they do this, just use your ultimate to teleport over their heads just before they reach your lane, and then start a team fight with Twisted Fate, 4v5ing before that person who they sent to deal with you has time to run back to get into the fight, which means they're going to arrive 10 to 20 seconds late. Checkmate. I'm going to make a split push guide and a pressure guide, both separate, and I'll give you the average professional level of understanding of pressure. This should come out sometime this month, hopefully, assuming I can get my internet. I hope so. Regular phase. So after you've gotten your poked or you've ported into the team fight, it'll go out like this. Immediately go the first target in and Q that target. Your cooldowns are low enough that you should be frequently using your cards anytime they're up. From here, get out and wait for those cooldowns. You have to constantly kite as TF. Kite, use the max range of your Q, and then run in with your gold card and kite again using your Q. Very simple. You're immobile as TF, so you gotta keep that range. Keep gold carding, Qing, auto attacking and just keeping range and kiting while you're doing it, and let your team peel for you. Just remember to keep backing off while doing so. If winning, use your Q and W, and of course ultimate if it's still up to finish anyone off. If losing, use your Q, W, just to damage and stun any closest targets immediately to help you and your team in getting away. While running, keep queuing and keep on running. Use that Q range to wilt down your enemy, to put them off chasing you, or even just to put them in danger of a turn. Keep throwing gold and red cards while queuing, and you'll be doing your job perfectly. And that's it for the teamfight section. Not only is that it for the teamfight section, that's it for the guide, guys. I hope it helped. Remember to like it if you like it, dislike if you dislike it, sub if you like me, or unsub if you don't like the video and it's not up to quality in some cases. If you think it's good enough, I would really appreciate a share, guys. It really helps me out, and of course it spreads the word. We need more good TF players. Lastly, can I give a call out to Grow Score? He's one of my favorite streamers to watch. Quite an energetic guy, and his favorite champion is Twisted Fate, and I hope I did it honor. I learned a lot of tips out of his stream. I genuinely did. I just watched him. A lot of people talk trash about the guy, but you know, I genuinely got 4 or 5 massive tips off this guy, so big call out to him. He also just got master when I finished this script, so congrats, man. Great job. Besides that, guys, have an absolutely great day, and as always, best of luck on the Rift.